Rocking Entrepreneur, Episode 4.
There were times my dad was like, "So what are you gonna do like this summer?" And I was like, "I want to make a viral video." It's like, "What?"
Hello, fellow rock stars. I am so excited to have Shankar Tucker here today. Shankar, are you ready to rock?
Yeah, man, sounds good. All
Perfect. So, Shankar rose to popularity from Shruti Box, which amassed more than 15 million views in just 2 years. He has played alongside Hariprasad Chaurasia and Zakir Hussain and is a TEDx and Inks Fellow. He has an amazing fan following which has helped him reach his Kickstarter campaign target in just 6 days. I can go on and on about this amazing person, and there are chances you already know more about what I can speak. So, let's hear it from him directly. Welcome to the show, Shankar. I've given our fellow rock stars a brief introduction, so take some time and describe a bit more about your professional and your personal life.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me here, Tushar. And yeah, my name's Shankar. I'm a musician. Composer and a producer and clarinet player, and I work a lot with Indian music and Indian fusion music. So it's kind of what I do.
All right. So one thing that's always confusing for people is, are you American or Indian? And how Indian are you?
I am American. The reason I have an Indian name is because my parents were really into Indian spirituality and devotees of Mata Amritanandamayi. So she gave me that name when I was young. But that being said, I have spent the last 5 or 6 years or so, good portion of the time in India, although living back in the States right now. But yeah, no, I'm American.
All right. What got you interested into Indian music then?
Indian music. Well, I was always really into music and into improvisation in general, and the clarinet being like an instrument that's mostly Western classical. That was the world that I was, living in. But I really wanted to find a home for my instrument that I could, improvise with it. So I was kind of exploring jazz and all these different new music ideas when I was in college for music, and and at a certain point I found some recordings of Indian classical music, and that was really revolutionary for me. So I kind of gradually got more and more into it, and then by the time I finished school, I decided that really was the path that I wanted to do, and I wanted to learn more about it. So I applied for a scholarship to study abroad in India, in Mumbai, with the great Hariprasad Chaurasia, the master flute player. So I got the scholarship, and I kind of bought a one-way ticket to Mumbai, and stayed there for quite some time.
So when was this move that you made, and what was going through your mind when you actually made the move?
That was in 2010, and I was just incredibly excited. I remember flying out of Newark Airport and not being able to sleep the night before. I mean, it's like, obviously it's a huge move, but I had never been to Mumbai before. I really didn't know what was in store for me. All I knew is that, I was an incredible fan of Hariprasad Chaurasia. I was collecting his recordings like crazy and just trying to learn his playing style from the CDs. So then, just getting on a plane and knowing that I was going to study with him for a full year, basically 24/7. It was, I was so excited. Yeah.
And was it a full scholarship, or was it like something that you had to pull the strings together to manage somehow in Mumbai? And what background did you have about Mumbai as a city?
I didn't have any background about Mumbai, really. I was trying to do some research on it before I got there. But no, it was a good scholarship. It supported me for a year, and I could just study. I didn't have to work during that time. But yeah, I remember going on Google Maps and trying to look up the address of where I was going to be staying and trying to get a little bit of a sense of the geography. of Mumbai from Google Maps, which really, unless you're there, obviously it doesn't mean anything. I remember trying to plot out like if I like where certain things were. I remember trying to find the ATM in relation to where I was staying. So I was a Bank of America customer, and I saw that Bank of America had an office in like near Churchgate, Mumbai, and I was staying in Juhu. And I was like, oh, it doesn't look that far. But in reality, it was like a 2.5-hour trip that I would have tried to go to the ATM to use my Bank of America card. And then I remember, obviously, that didn't work out. But like after a couple months, I decided to try to follow up with that plan. And I actually went there and found the office. And then they're like, we're a corporate office. We don't have an ATM. And anyway, but it all worked out. But yeah, I had no idea about the city, and it was a huge, exciting change.
So you're from the East Coast, right? Is that New York City?
Yeah, near New York City.
Okay, so you are used to the crowd and the chaos.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Something like that.
So how was your first year with Hariprasad Chaurasia and his school?
It was amazing. It was a really life-changing experience. It was more than like the lifestyle and living in Mumbai versus the US. It was like it was just being totally immersed in a different culture. And music is something that I've been doing like studying kind of full time for a while, so I've kind of been really involved in it and kind of immersed in it. But then going from the tradition of Western music, which is what I did most of the day, to being 100% Indian music, that was a big shift. But it is something that really, I don't know, I loved it.
Right. I can only imagine being an American going into a completely new city and a completely new country, and immersing myself completely into a new style of music, and there I am learning with the best person out there who could teach me. But at the same time, I imagine there must be also numerous students that are learning along with you. And did that make you feel scared at any point of time, or was that somehow motivating for you, or how did that help?
Like competition between students.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was actually a really small school, and I remember feeling really outside the competition. There wasn't really that much competition to begin with, and it was a pretty like chill place. But I remember just feeling like not. I mean, as a person who is not Indian and not playing an Indian instrument, and also kind of realizing that I am not going to be a full classical instrumentalist like the other students were. I kind of never put myself in that category of, I didn't see myself as, because I was just kind of there to learn about the tradition and to learn what I could. It wasn't like wasn't like we were vying for some future spot of being best flute player. Yeah. And also, everybody was playing different instruments, which kind of helps. It kind of puts people in different categories.
Okay, perfect. So you said the scholarship was for 1 year. What after that?
Mm-hmm.
What happened after that?
So that's when I started making videos. I kind of realized that this money from the scholarship was coming to an end, and that I didn't really have many job opportunities like, waiting for me with my skill set being a non-Indian music clarinet player. It's like pretty weird. So I was kind of took an inspiration from some musicians who were working online at the time, like making these simple performance music videos. And I tried to do something similar, but showcasing my compositions and kind of the music that inspired me. So it's very indie music inspired and takes a lot of classical compositions and kind of so that was how I started my channel.
So this was the ShrutiBox compilation you started at that time? Okay, so that turned out to be a pretty big hit.
Yeah, it was a gradual thing. I tried to do a video every week to start with, which was really tough. I had to teach myself a lot about filmmaking and recording and composing. And then over the course of a couple of years, it kind of gained momentum and got bigger and bigger.
What you get by reaching your destination is not nearly as important as what you become by reaching your destination.
Sure.
So I think you had a couple of amazing strategies right when you started ShrutiBox. One was the YouTube video strategy, and later on the Kickstarter campaign that you launched. I'm going to come back to the Kickstarter campaign a little bit, but I
Sure.
would like to start with the YouTube video strategy. Yours was a very unique style, which was a blend of Indian fusion music. And it was a great strategy because the YouTube videos were still picking up at that time, and it got really wildly popular, and a lot of videos are still kind of viral. Would you recommend still the same strategy to other aspiring musicians or independent artists out there, or that is kind of something, kind of a pass? And are there new strategies for people out there who want to walk kind of in your shoes?
It's definitely still a viable strategy. In fact, I am now producing a couple new artists using the same strategy, and it's working even better for them, arguably, than it did for me. I've started producing videos for Vidya, who's a talented singer. So I think it's just been 3 or 4 months that she's started doing videos. I believe it's 9 or 10 videos in that time, and she's got almost 50,000 subscribers and 3 million hits on YouTube. So it's definitely a strategy that works. And, I'm still trying to figure it out. I think in general, people are trying to figure out how to be musicians in this era. Nobody really has it completely figured out. Everybody's kind of figuring it out as the game changes. But this is something that still seems to work. Yeah.
Okay. Give our audience an idea. What does 15 million views for ShrutiBox translate in terms of financial help that ShrutiBox got from YouTube, just from a YouTube channel? What does that mean to the day-to-day financial assistance for Shankar Tucker's life?
Well, I can't give you specifics, but it's not a huge amount by any means. But it's not that bad either. I can support myself doing this full time. Not the most luxurious lifestyle, but that's okay. I'm happy with it. I hope that it's something that I can continue to grow. Yeah.
And is it any different the way Google pays in India versus it pays in US?
No, well, the YouTube channel that I started, I'm originally from the U.S., so I always had it under the, U.S. way of, I don't know, I signed up from the U.S. basically. Most of the money does not come from YouTube. That's partly because what I do is, I do a lot of cover songs, and most of the advertising revenue goes to the original rights holders. So most musicians on YouTube don't get their main income from YouTube, unlike comedy people or whatever. So there's a variety of things. I sell MP3s, do concerts. It's a variety of streams, but it's kind of centered around my YouTube channel.
But if you start your own music channel like ShrutiBox was, I would assume that you are the right owner, right?
It's complicated. It's a long thing. Yeah. But if I'm doing a song of like A.R. Rahman, he's the original composer, and he's the original rights holder for the composition. I'm the rights holder for the recording that I did. But it splits it up in terms of revenue from ad revenue on YouTube. So in that case, the original composer gets most of the income.
So in a summary, fusion music is not really as beneficial as original soundtrack, is it?
Not on YouTube, but that's a catch because on YouTube nobody really cares to watch original music that much. You'll get much more traction by doing cover songs.
Okay, so coming to the Kickstarter campaign now, what kind of effort and organization does it take to establish or launch a successful Kickstarter campaign? And could you walk us through the process
of the campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. I mean, in my case, I felt like I had something that I knew. I had a decent sized fan base on Facebook and YouTube, and I had a product that I was very confident of giving to them, which is something that they would like, which is a new album. So that's like the first step. All right, obviously having a good product and a good idea that people are going to want to buy, which is not such an easy step, but that's the first step. And then the second part, in terms of the specifics of a Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign, is being really generous and specific in terms of the rewards that you're giving. Really, what you're doing is you're pre-selling copies of whatever you're making or doing or creating. So your pricing has to be like appropriate. So most of the donations are between $15 and $35. So I think it makes sense to actually have a bunch of different tiers within that price range. Some people might find it redundant, but it's really more about giving options of rewards because remember, people are buying it. They're not just giving you money. They're pre-selling, they're buying it. So you want to give them options for different things that they like. So I'd recommending, having a $10 tier, 15, 20 or 25, 35, etc. Just, really breaking it down in that price range. And the last thing I would recommend is having a good video to promote it. Just something clear, doesn't have to be super fancy, but clear and direct, explaining what's going on. So, yeah.
Cool. Were most of your backers from US or were they from India as well?
It was a pretty wide selection of people. I think most were outside of India, but I'm not sure because I know some people asked like relatives outside of India to do it because of like credit card things, international credit card things with Indian credit cards. So I feel like that may have been an issue. And I'm not exactly sure where, but I know, while I've been mailing out CDs to people that, yeah, there are definitely a fair bit of people from India who donated.
Okay. All right. I think this is an excellent strategy. If you can build your popularity through YouTube, you can easily launch a Kickstarter equivalent campaign in India. I don't think there are a lot of musicians. I don't know. You might have a better idea if there are more musicians that do such kind of campaigns to fundraise for their private albums as of this point.
In India?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a couple campaigns. I've seen a couple like crowdfunding platforms in India that are like Kickstarter, the same concept as Kickstarter. I don't know how popular or legitimate they are. I know the Indian government was taking them to task for something. I think they didn't understand. They thought it was a scam or something like that. I think, Wishberry, they had some trouble a little while ago. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure it's really caught on there.
If it is not caught on, all the listeners have a great opportunity. They can exploit it at this point. This brings to the end of our first episode with Shankar Tucker, fellow rock stars. Make sure to follow Rocking Entrepreneur for the continuation of this episode next week. Till then, keep rocking.